Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of But Coffee First. If you're new here, please subscribe. We would love to have you. If you're coming back, welcome back. Please leave a comment below. We would love to interact and hear your thoughts as we talk about this very sensitive topic. Today, I want to give a disclaimer. We're going to be talking about recent school shootings, not in, in terms of what has happened there, but what our experience has been in our community as it relates to our kids going to school and what they've experienced in terms of potential active shooters and recent threats. I'm joined today by my youngest daughter. I won't share her name, so say hello.
Hello.
I know that this topic can be triggering for some folks. We're not trying to trigger you. We just want to share our perspective as we always do. And I know recently we have had some recent contact with our schools that have mentioned the potential of harm where our kids are going to school. And even up to today, we've gotten emails and some text messages about some recent posts from some students threatening harm to the school. I know a few years ago, there was a school shooter day that kids were staying home from school because of that. It has just been a lot of triggering things that have happened. And I wanted to bring my youngest daughter on because unfortunately it has been her school and those incidents that have been the target of such you know, disgust. It really is a disgusting thing to think about someone threatening harm or wanting to harm others in such a way. And in light of Mental Health Awareness Month this month, I think it's important that we have this discussion because it is a lot of the times linked to some serious mental illness that we see students or adults creating these mass shootings. So I'll stop talking for a second. I just want to ask her, you heard about it today in school, the potential of there being someone entering the school with a gun. What were you thinking? What was going through your mind before you texted me?
I was thinking, like, why would someone want from a different school to shoot up a school for no reason?
Hmm.
Like, what was the reason that you decided to post on social media that you were going to shoot school?
Hmm. And how did you get that information? Because I know that I was getting the emails as a parent, about there being a potential social media post that was being investigated by the police. But how did you get that information in school before you text me?
I got the information from teachers, students. It's just because students were the ones who saw it on social media and told the principal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's students going around saying that people are saying it, people saying that he got arrested, just a whole bunch of stuff just going around. But me and these students and teachers.
And knowing that that is the potential happening, what did the school do in that moment? What was the school's plan? Did they announce anything? What was being said in the school?
People were locked in our classes for an hour. Like the classes that we were in, we were in our class for an hour so they could figure out what was going on. And then like we're basically on a lockdown, but not like a lockdown drill. We were just in our classes.
Hmm. And did you feel safe in that moment? Did you feel okay in that moment? I know that you had texted me and I said I'm aware of what's going on. What was your thoughts? How were you feeling?
I was like fine. I just didn't know if you knew.
Hmm.
So I was like, I should probably let you
Thank you for that. And I know that we've discussed school shootings as this has been happening across the country, and we're so sorry to the families that have been impacted by this just sad, 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 sad behavior, and just the lack of remorse that we're seeing from these people who are committing these crimes, and that there are some folks who need some serious help that are doing these things. But as this is like I said earlier, this is not the first time that we dealt with this within your school to the point that, and I'm not sure what, other people, but we at one point had um, school shooter day where kids were on TikTok, kids were on social media saying that they were going to be shooting up schools and there was basically no one in the classroom, and you decided that day that you were going to go to school. What made you okay to go to school?
It's not that I had no okay with it, it's that I didn't know when I woke up in the morning like there was that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went to school not knowing.
Mm. And then when you got there, I know that you text me and you're like, hey, there's nobody here. What's going on? And you found out. What was your reaction then?
It was come pick me up. I don't know.
Right. I don't mean to laugh, but it definitely was like the text message, like, get here now. And why did you have that sense of urgency in that moment once you found out?
Because you don't know what people are capable of.
Mm.
So people can do anything. You could be joking, you could be telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, when I went to pick you up, I was really surprised by how the administrators handled it. I go in there to pick you up. It was more so I was the bad parent of, let her stay in school. We really want to not have this narrative out there. These kids are just making these pranks. There wasn't this sense of this child is uncomfortable and picking her up is totally fine. It was like, let's not feed into that. And I think that that bothered me the most. And I went off on the administrative about it because I'm like, how dare you minimize how my child is feeling in that moment, brave enough to come into the school in the first place, even though you didn't know what was going on, but to be penalized or felt bad about leaving blew my mind. And once you heard her saying those things, like, what was your thoughts? Like, how did you feel about her response to basically suck it up?
It's like it's not a big deal if you think about it.
Mm.
So it's like 1 minute it's fine, and next one is like you have to get up to brother.
Right. It's like hot or cold,
Yeah.
And now that you're in this other school, which is a lot closer, like literally the police station is like one on the opposite side of the school, do you feel more comfortable? Like you're in a lockdown today, did you feel more comfortable that that student potentially could not have gotten to the school and caused harm?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And is it because the police are right there? Like I know there's a police officer that sits in front of your school, but
It's that there's a police officer in the back of the school, in the front of the school, and also the police station is right there, and also it's just like I feel like it's safer just how the school handles it.
mhm. And when you say handles themselves, like what, like, and when I talk about the administrative in the other school, that was a completely different school that she was going to at the time, but then she's in a new school now. What, thinking about the two different schools, what is this school doing now that made you feel safer than the other school?
This one is willing to practice more lockdown drills. It makes like surveys for like the students to like say how they feel without having to be like judged like anonymous.
Anonymously.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can like basically put your impact in of what you want to happen in the school. And then there's multiple locks on the doors, there's face recognition on the doors. There's different stuff like that they need to get in the door. Even teachers need to have a passcode and like their like key cards to be able to get inside the school.
Mm. I know for us now as parents, we can't even enter the school unless there's a school event. And even then, there's tons of police there as well. So I appreciate how this school has been more vigilant about what's going on and versus this passive, like, this shall too shall pass kind of behavior and kind of mindset that came from the other school. I know, like I said, trying to pick you up, you ring the bell, they say wait outside. You can't even get in. We'll send the kid to you. So I appreciate that. I don't mind waiting in my car to know that my child's coming to me versus going in and people have access to the school just all willy nilly. So knowing that there's safeguards, I think makes a difference. Now, knowing that you've been seeing, all of this stuff on the news and just going, still having the energy, because there's some kids who are struggling to go every day because of the fear. How have you, I know that you said earlier because the school is doing better things, but how do you personally handle that fear? How are you telling yourself that it will be okay?
I would say I don't really have any fear because like I try not to think about it, even if I think about it. I try not to think about it as much. And it's like Like if I feel like I'm safe, like I'm safe.
Mm. I like the perspective. It's straight to the point. It's like I'm you controlling how your emotions and mentally how something impacts you. And I think for me, I'm more traumatized as a parent because we're further away. We're at work. Getting to you is half hour to an hour. You know, and we're not going to be the only ones trying to get to their kids when something is happening. Um, so I think as the parents, we carry a lot more of that trauma and the super high concern around safety in the schools and ensuring that you're safe and that if anything happens that can get to you and you can communicate. I know that schools are like, put your phones away, you can't be texting. And I know we're guilty of that. You send me a text message and stuff like that. But sometimes I feel good to know that you checked in. I'm very adamant about the on the school bus, things of those nature, staying on top of you about that. But I appreciate that when you think I should know something, you let me know. You're not trying to, raise the alarm, but you're like, hey, FYI, what's going on because the messages we're getting from the administrators can be very bland. They're very like blah. And I get that's to deter people from mass hysteria, but it can be a lot for people to, and the fact that you're discussing it in classes and in school, um, it's crazy. Now, one of the things I saw recently, I think over the last couple of weeks was there's some schools, I believe it's in Alabama, where they put in bulletproof doors and safety things in the classroom. Is that something that you would like to see in your class?
It's something that we're already seeing in our class. Like the regular classroom doors have glass, like for the windows, but we don't have like glass. We have like I forgot. I think it's plexiglass, where it's like you can't like break it. You can't like get through the glass. Like if someone try to break it,
It's like probably like bulletproof glass.
yeah, and try to open the door, you can't do that.
So you're already seeing some of those similar safety not message, but mechanisms in the classrooms that are supposed to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because when I saw that, and I was just wondering about timing, how quickly can that teacher pull that thing open to put those kids in, and in the blink of a second when something's going on, I think it's a great thing to have. I just wonder about practice and how quickly that could happen. And when you're thinking about the different tiers, middle school, high school, and elementary, younger kids may be a little harder to corral than older kids who recognize a safety concern. I also wonder about training. You mentioned earlier lockdown drills and that being happening more often. How are those going? Like, do you feel like they're happening enough, especially after all of the news about school shootings?
I don't think they're happening enough, but like when they do fire drills, it's like because they show like how many exits there are, and some of the exits are like hidden exits. There's exits that you can get out of the building. There's exits everywhere. Classroom, there's doors to the outside. There's doors right next to classrooms to be able to get outside. So I feel like they should be more lockdown drills, but when they're showing us in fire drills where you can get out, it's also good.
Yeah. It's also good, but also for me hearing that, I'm a little nervous because that's a lot of times how people get in. It's through those unknowns. And if it's a student who's coming to cause harm, 9 out of 10 times they know where those places are and which ones are locked and unlocked. And I know, what was it last year? Students on the prank day cut the power. And I didn't mean like just turn off the breakers in the school. They cut the power at the street. I don't know how they did that, where they shut down the power to the police station, the school, and a portion of a hospital. That to me raised my awareness of, and I think that's why they put more police at the school, because at one, there was always like one officer. Now there's more. But I think after that day, I think they took it serious that these students have the ability to figure out a lot of things. Knowing that and knowing that you have so many entries and exit points, how are you feeling about that in general?
And I think it's fine because after that prank situation thing, the school like took their time to for certain doors, there's like even like chain bolts,
Mm,
lock things. There's no door that's gonna like be left unlocked because also they don't want students just to leave whenever
right.
they want to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's now half of those like exit doors have little key like things you have the like numbers that you have to put in so you can get out and in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like steel doors. Like it's kind of creepy, but they paint them, but like they're like steel doors.
They're heavy doors. Those
Yeah.
things are not okay.
So try to break that down.
They're gonna be really hurting. But I appreciate your thoughts and perspective, and I'm really thankful that you are handling this, as best as you can. Because for some people, like I said, even for myself, I worry a ton about those messages, about those calls, and what day to day looks like. You, you are ready for the summer to come for you to get out of school. I'm ready for you to get out of school because it's still, the world is still crazy, but it's one less moment of crazy when I know that you are not in that place where people are targeting students and targeting staff in such a violent way, and that we as a family have been involved. We haven't had an active shooter in our schools, but to know that there's been constant threat of harm to these schools that you go to, and we tried to handle it with grace and understanding, it's really off-putting. It's a little sad and it's a little stressful to know that's what we're dealing with day to day. And but any final words? I appreciate you sharing your very calm thoughts with us.
Um, not really. Just pay attention, be kind.
That's true. Pay attention, be aware of your surroundings. I know that's something that we are very, very big on in this household. It's like at least take one, AirPod out your ear. You need to focus on what's happening around you and make sure that you know what's going on whenever you can, and listening to what's happening in the classroom is truly big too, and being in front of it. And I know for some folks it's easier said than done, because nobody's expecting those things to happen. And it's truly, truly sad. So our hearts go out to the families and the victims and the loved ones that have been lost in this senseless crime. And I really hope that schools can get back to being a safe place, and a place where students feel comfortable. And I'm glad that my child feels comfortable. And shout out to our current school that's doing a good job on setting up safety parameters and security, to ensure safety of our kids. So thank you all for listening to the Coffee First in the episode. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments.